Okay, hi.
Hey, how
Hello,
are you?
Juliet.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
It's so wonderful to have you on the show today. You're looking beautiful, and I love the entire background with the paintings and everything. Oh,
Thank
wow.
you.
Okay. All right. So,
Thank you.
welcome, inspiring women. Today, our conversation is themed Self-Love is Bad with a strike through. And who better to be my guest speaker than Juliet Uzoma, a cancer survivor of 13 years, and she radiates from inside out because she has applied the principles of self-love. Okay, so our culture, on A League of Inspirational Women is to, I would normally share the guest speaker bio with you, but today I'm just gonna let her tell you all about herself in her story. So Juliet, welcome again, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Where do I start? I'm a mother of two wonderful teenagers. I'm a breast cancer survivor, 13 years, a breast cancer survivor. So it's been quite a journey for me. And in the process of my journey and being a survivor, I learned to extend that help and, pay it forward by starting an organization where I became an advocate for a lot of women and men around the world, visiting, helping, providing resources, and with the help of other great organizations who have been very wonderful in being there because they actually worked with me during my journey. So
Yeah.
after surviving, I thought it would be great to, work with them on this journey that I'm taking, especially in Africa where we considered cancer. I had breast cancer. We considered cancer as a death sentence. So it was a quite life-changing experience having to work with these great people who held my hand through that journey in helping other people and traveling around, inspiring women through my story and empowering them, giving hope as well.
Fantastic. Wow. It's such an amazing story, right? To actually just survive cancer and then just go all out, to empower women. To be the same, to be strong, and to actually find healing, and then also find self-love. Um, so that's why this topic is so, it moves me because, you have many women who struggle with trauma caused from pain, such as divorce, health issues, just like, cancer, like what you went through, loss of a loved one, even, pain from, rape. And as a result, it makes self-love seem like impossible, an overwhelming ordeal. And so what happens is that you find a lot of women find it so difficult to even start the journey of self-love. So I think we should start from the beginning. Like, let's define what self-love really is, because people don't even understand what self-love really is. What's self-love?
Well, in my definition, what I consider self-love is basically staying in your quiet and figuring out who you are, what's your purpose in life. Because as human beings, we're constantly growing, we're developing. So you get to ask yourself, who am I? You look in the mirror, that's a reflection of who you are. And if it's something that you don't like, you try to change it for something better. So, in so many ways, self love is being able to accept yourself for who you are and being able to surround yourself with people who can help you grow from one stage of life to a greater stage in life.
That's really powerful, because what I hear you say now is that apart from finding out who you really are and accepting who you are, another important thing is surrounding yourself with the right people, with the right
Mhm.
influences, and that takes intentional, living, intentional decisions. You've got to make up your mind to do that. Yes. Wow, that's really powerful. Okay, so where do you think we should begin the self-love journey?
A self love journey, I mean, you can't really tell someone when to start it.
Okay.
A human being existing in this world, you have to, first of all, figure out what your goals are, what your dreams are. Do you have a strategy to get to them? Because sometimes, a lot of us we don't always tend to pursue that dream just because of whatever shortcomings, whatever, obstacles you face through your life course. So, but if you're able to ask yourself those questions, like I always tell people, to start self-love, you have to be in your quiet. Being in your quiet, meaning that you have to be able to ask yourself certain questions, like I said, the goals, your dreams, what are the strategies to, get there. And again, we have to understand that every human being has an imagination. We all have this dream that I want to be this, I want to do that. So imagination, like Robert Einstein said, he said, imagination is a preview to a coming attraction that God has for you. So we think, you act, you work towards that imagination. It doesn't matter what you're doing currently. If it's not a dream and that imagination that you had for yourself or God has for you, you're never going to find the satisfaction. So when you start asking yourself those questions, where do I go? Where do I start? How do I start this? And then the biggest thing that we tend to face all the time is making excuses for not getting to where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you learn to tell yourself no excuses, that is the start of growth. That means you're starting to live as opposed to existing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Definitely.
Because of us wander around in this world existing as opposed to living.
Yeah.
And living, being able to figure out who you are, where you're going, and how you want to get there. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It makes a lot of sense, really. So, in other words, I like the Albert Einstein's quote you just shared with us. Imagination is a preview to a coming attraction of what God has in store for you. And you know what? That's actually very powerful. So that means that you need to live intentionally. And like you rightly said, don't just exist. And you're right. A lot of women, and even not just women, people just wander around, wake up in the morning, dress up without purpose, right? And so they're unable to even set out to what achieve their goals. And so that means that when they have challenges in front of them, all they do is give excuses because they haven't even charted a plan for themselves. They have no strategy on how they even want to achieve anything. Yes. So, and I mean, if you're not doing any of this, it means that you're lacking in self-love for yourself, actually. So,
exactly. We have to learn to be we have to focus on being the best version of ourselves.
Yes. So that means that we're constantly
go ahead.
That means that we're constantly a work in progress.
Yeah, we're always a work in progress. Like I said, we're constantly growing. We're developing every day. So there's always something new. You might just get off the street and see someone doing something that you feel, wow, I think I kind of like that. How do you apply it into your life? How do you grow from, watching that little thing? It could just be one simple thing that you feel, wow, if this person can do this, why can't I do it? Like being able to challenge yourself and being the best version, and also learning, the one of the things that we face, one of the challenges we face is that, we constantly let people's opinion be a reality. Don't ever let anybody's opinion be a reality. People are going to constantly have opinion about you, but what matters is who you are, what you think you're doing, where you're going. That doesn't mean you don't listen to people. You take what makes a positive impact in your life and you grow from it.
Very, very, very important. So that means you have to actually, learn to sift out the information or the noise comes that, filter the noise that comes into your head. You've got to filter.
Exactly. We all have dreams, and if you're sharing your dreams with someone who has no idea where you're going, that dream dies. It dies instantly. So
Absolutely.
you have to understand that everyone that has a dream is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has their own dream. So the reason why the person is not actually understanding your dream is that it's not his or her gift. So they're never going to understand where you're going. But you believe in yourself, and you tend to find yourself around people who have achieved the dream. That way, you learn the culture of achievement. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Surround yourself with someone who has achieved a dream.
Mm-hmm.
You tend to build yourself. There's something to look up to.
Yeah.
I'm growing from it. You don't make excuses. We do have shortcomings, but the question is, where are you going? How do you pick up from there? Where are you going? For those that know me, those that really know who I am, I don't like that word, making excuses for myself. I don't make excuses. I say it because when I was going through cancer, I was also taking classes. And I remember my mother said to me, why don't you drop all these things and focus on your health? And I said to her, at some point, my doctor said I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
If I go according to the plans, and I feel like I'm going to be okay. But if I do my classes right now, that means once I get better, I'm going to start all over.
Yeah.
I keep doing what distracts me from this pain, this hurt that I'm going through, because it was a distraction for me. So at least I was looking forward to something. I took online classes. So it was quite a distraction. It was a struggle, but it was quite a distraction. So I didn't want to make excuses because I was going through cancer to put everything on hold. Though there are some times when you feel like, you know what, I can't really push beyond this boundary, then you take some time to yourself. But while you can, while we're still living, why don't you live and exist?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's really powerful. So I hear you. You were going through this crisis, but you didn't let that stop you, right? And you kept on pushing forward and not making excuses. Because sometimes you find people who actually tell themselves, you know what, okay, I'm going through this. Let me let that get resolved before I move on with my life. Do you continue to move on with your life regardless of the crisis that you were going through? So that shows that you've got some serious mental, strength, like you have, gone to like a mental gym or something, right? Because, it's tough. It's actually tough to make such a decision, in the midst of that. And I applaud you for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. The thing is that the few times I sat on my chemo chair, that's when I got a chance to be in myself. And I started asking myself, what are those things that make me happy? What are those things that I wish I could have done that I never got a chance to do? And you start wondering, and you start telling yourself, you and God are now having a conversation. Like, if you give me a second chance, I make sure I, fulfill my dreams, the things that make me myself, that make me happy. It's not a one-day thing. It takes process, and it takes a village to get you through that process. Because I did go through therapy, and I remember the first sessions of my therapy was really hard for me to open up and talk to the therapist. Being an African woman, like, where do I start from? You just feel like nobody gets you. Nobody's ever going to understand you.
Yes.
So the second session, she sat there with me. She was so sweet. she sat there with me, and she didn't say anything. She just said, "Whenever you're ready." I said, "Well, we'll sit, using that African mentality, we'll sit here until we're tired." I'm not saying anything. So, but eventually, I started understanding that this woman was just patient, waiting for me, just whenever you're ready. And that really taught me a vital lesson. Eventually, when it was getting too much, the treatment, everything, I needed somebody I needed an outlet. And I made the appointment. And we got there and sat down. I just, opened up in tears. I felt so relieved that, Jesus, all these things in your mind and you couldn't even say it. And it was an awakening moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I say it's an awakening moment, is that when I meet cancer patients, when I talk to women, when I hold their hands, a lot of times it's difficult to open up and just say it like you're feeling it. So what I had learned from my therapist was be patient and stay in the quiet and listen. Whenever they're ready, they will talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I can imagine. I mean, you've always shared that you spend a lot of time because you're an advocate. So you spend a lot of time with women, who are going through that journey as well. And it's, the self-love journey is quite a very tough one, I'm sure, even when you're going through, this storm. And then sometimes we find ourselves discouraged, right? And because we're not getting the desired result. Because I can imagine that sometimes, when you're going through chemo and all that, you're waiting to get a good result, but taking its time, and so you find that, you're filled with thoughts, negative thoughts in your head, and all. And of course, once you have negative thoughts, you're exuding negative energy around you. How can women shift, okay, from that negative energy, right, that infiltrates them during crisis, to a positive energy? Because you mentioned distraction, right? I mean, you need something to take your mind off that negative, experience. How can they make this shift? Because it's just a thin line. It's a thin line from negative to positive.
Yeah. I'll take you through a very little journey. When I went through cancer, of course, I had breast cancer on the left side of my breast. And I had a mastectomy because, it was taken off. I had a stage 3C breast cancer, which was very aggressive because it had spread. So you're dealing with the physical image as a woman, having to go through that process. Yes. I talk about it now because I have grown from, why should I talk about it? I'm talking about it because every woman needs to learn from this experience. You look at yourself in the mirror, you're slanted, one side. You're not who you used to be. You're not the person that once modeled at one time, once an actress, once this, you don't see that person anymore. You're seeing someone completely different. And you're asking yourself, is this it? Is this the end for me? There's so many emotions going through your head.
Yeah.
You can't share with people, you can't be around them. But then you have to find the strength, because when I look around and I see my family, I see my 2 daughters, because when I was diagnosed, there were 3 and 1. And I'm asking myself, if I die, who's going to love my daughter better than I can? So what does that tell you? The zeal to fight.
Yes.
And then you have medical professionals, because I give credit to everyone, who were positive people in your life. And they hold your hands, they call your name, and you feel like you exist. So there's a reason to fight. There's a reason to rebuild. When I went through that journey of, physical appearance not being the same person that it used to be, it was easy to go down the hill, which at some point I did. But then when you have positive people, I had positive family members around me that kept, encouraging me, giving me hope. My late brother, when I shared a picture of my bald head, and I said, look at how I look now. He said, wow, you look beautiful. If chemo wasn't as painful as people think it is, I might just get a prescription too. We laughed about it because it was an encouragement.
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself, I'm not seeing what people are seeing, but that empowerment, letting you know that, wow, you're beautiful, gives you a reason to live. And then when through the journey, once I was done with the journey, there was a time I was very weak. I couldn't do anything. I didn't have the zeal to do anything at all. And my oldest daughter at the time, 3, she wanted to play outside. I was too weak. I said, I'm tired. I cannot get out and do anything. She just said, Mommy, it's only cancer. That hit home for me. It's only cancer. And I'm looking at my child wanting to play with me, and all I could think about is that I'm weak. I immediately got up from that chair. I said, come on, let's go. And it was actually rejuvenating. It was energizing because you get out, you get the fresh air, you're not dead before the actual death.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So,
You made me a bit teary.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Wow, you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. No, it's just when you shared, what your daughter said to you, it's quite powerful, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, God
It's
bless children.
Yeah. Our children are a gift.
Yes, I mean, they see things in ways that we don't. Yes. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. So, wow. Okay. So, in the law of, okay, so I'm going to move on. Okay. Because in the law of curiosity, right? I mean, as a John Maxwell coach, there's this 15 laws of growth that we teach people, we try to coach people on. And one of them is the law of curiosity that states that curious people, possess a thirst for knowledge when it comes to personal growth, right? And then so the question is, how can we be curious to learn what and why, something makes us better? So, you went through quite a lot, but I'm sure you picked things, you just focused on things that made you feel good. And that's what I hear you say. You focused on the positive people, like your late brother, you focused on what he said and it brought you out, it made you smile. You focused on your daughter, when she said what she said, it just pulled you up, it gave you the strength. How can people be curious enough to learn, that this is what makes me strong, this is what puts me in a positive state of mind, and then gravitate towards that when they feel, that they're going down?
I mean, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you see something that is not working, what do? You change it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a lot of us, look into that mirror for a very long time and we don't want to see change. We don't have the power to change it. So you have to learn, at that point, you have to learn to allow yourself meet positive people that can help you get to that place that you cannot get by yourself. So basically, what am I saying? You surround yourself, you open up yourself enough to allow people who have made impacts and you feel it can make impact in your life to drag you through that journey that you cannot get to by yourself. I say it because I had with my therapist who helped me drag me out of that soberness, that self-pity that I was in, to where that I needed to like get out of that self-pity, first of all. Then I surrounded myself by, one of the things I said to her, I said, when I close my eyes, one of the happy places that I want to be is on stage, because as a theater artist, that's where I found my happiness. And I want to experience it again. So when I close my eyes, for anybody, when you close your eyes, where is that happy place? And one of the things she did for me was connect me. Luckily, she had a friend who knew a friend that was a director, a movie director. And so she connected me with her. And it was life-changing. Now I have somewhere, not only did she drag me out of that, self-pity, now I have a focus point where I can go. It wasn't like I was actually performing because I was still a little weak, but I had somewhere to go and watch people that distracted my negative thoughts. So my thing is to tell people, you have to find it within yourself. When you close your eyes, what do you see? Where do you find happiness? Where is that happy place for you? Find it within yourself to drag yourself. It's one day at a time. It doesn't happen instantly. It's one day at a time. There are days that you feel your happiest. There are days that you feel sad. I mean, sometimes a lot of us are you find yourself in a job that you don't really like. But the question is, that job, does it give you a certain fulfillment? Is it somewhere that you go and you're, meeting up with people and you're happy? Or is it somewhere that you go and the minute you walk through the door, you're like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? There are two things. It might not be the career that you want, but it makes you happy. It makes you want to get up every day and learn something new. Then that's different. But if it's something that by the time you get through that door, you're like, oh, Jesus, what am I doing here? Then that's not where you need to be.
Yes.
So you have to learn to challenge yourself every day. In life, we have to learn to take risk. In taking risk, you learn and you understand what works and what doesn't work.
Yes. Wow. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you something because, and that has to do with the mastectomy. Okay.
Yes.
So, mastectomy is one thing, and then of course, women, we struggle with our bodies every single day. I mean, after having my son, I mean, I look in front of the mirror and I'm not just liking, the way my body looks, and this affects me mentally. So whenever I want to put on something, I just still feel like it doesn't look good. And there are women struggling just like that. So regardless of, if it was a mastectomy or if it's a bulge or a big tummy, a pouch, it still affects us somehow. We still feel that we're not, because we have this picture of perfection in our head, right? How can you, because, and it also leads to self-love or lack of self-love as well, if you cannot embrace who you are, so how can we get to that point where we look at ourselves in the mirror and love our imperfections, love ourselves just the way we are,
Exactly. Like I said, when you look in the mirror and what you see you don't like, you start working on change, right?
Yeah.
It's a gradual process. When I looked at myself in the mirror, my weight was not the same. Of course, I had gained more weight than I ever thought. I didn't have that thing, before cancer, I was fascinated about my hair and all whatnot. But after chemo and I went bald, I started to learn that beauty was not just on the surface. It was within, it was right here. who I was as a person made me more beautiful than that physical thing. So when I started asking myself certain questions, like I said, in my quiet, which is what I do a lot of time, I take pride in that. My siblings know that I take pride in when the noise is too much, I push back and I stay in my quiet.
Yes.
Because I need to think, I need to reflect, I need to ask myself questions. So for people that feel like, like you just said, you had a baby, you're looking at your body and you don't like what you see, and people going through certain stress, what are you going to do about it? You first of all tell yourself, okay, I'm going to start one day at a time. You start with your feeding. Starts with, do I just take a walk every day? Do I look at the mirror every day and say, you are okay? That's the biggest thing. It's hard. But when you look at yourself and you say, I think I'm okay, you're starting to rechange your mind from that, my God, I look so terrible. My God, stop blaming yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do something about it. Work on it. If you don't like it, do something about it. Engage yourself with people that are doing something about it. That way you can inspire yourself to do something about it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
A lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
No, because many times as human beings, we tend to depend on other people. We're dependent. But why? Every individual is unique in their own ways. We all have a different gifts.
Yes.
Why do I want to depend on somebody else? Because when you start depending on someone, you start pointing fingers as to why it never worked out for you. When you push yourself, you can learn one or two things and push yourself. I'm not saying you cannot learn from people. Like I said, you can learn from people who have achieved the dream so you can push yourself. But at the same time, don't be dependent. Have your own dreams. Have your own focus.
Yes.
Because I believe everybody in this world has a certain dream and a focus.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What are the strategies of getting there? Where do I be? Little by little, you're doing something. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't like what you see.
Do something about it. Do something. Just do something about it. And that's so true. Oh wow. Yeah. Well, ladies, you've had Juliet. Do something about it. That is loving. That is a good step to show yourself, love. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So another thing that I want to ask you is as women, we often put the needs of others, before us, our children, our spouses, our friends, and this is natural. This is how we were actually created. And without even meaning to, we forget to even meet our own needs. And sometimes we feel guilty if we actually take time out to spend on ourselves. Like you just go and have your quiet time, which is so important. A lot of women don't even know how to do that, right? Or even if they know that they should, don't do it because they feel guilty that they're neglecting, to give the care to people around them. How can we learn to put our needs above others? Well, sometimes, okay, but I'm not guilty about it, so that we can enjoy that time that we have created for ourselves.
Well, naturally, as women, we're nurturers. That's who we are. That's by nature. That's who we are. Then when you have children, you think about them first. We want to make sure that they're okay before anything else. It's just who we are. But at some point, you have to understand that as a woman, you have to learn to give what you have. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You cannot give love if you haven't found love within yourself. You cannot serve other people, make them happy when you're not happy. What does that mean? You're existing. You're not living.
Yes.
So in order for me to give love, because if I don't know what love is, I cannot give love.
Yes.
So that means I'm just existing. I'm not living. I'm just doing what everybody wants me to do so that I can belong. It's not about belonging. So in order for you to give love, you must have found love. You must have been able to love yourself. In order for you to love a child, you must have found that self-love so you can give it.
Mm.
You know, but we're not perfect. We're constantly learning every day.
Yeah.
You know, child can teach you how to even love him or her. You understand? There are times that as a mother, I'm sure there are times as a mother when you're so tired, you're like, oh my God, this child, just go. And I mean, hey, it's a human nature. And then your child comes up to you and they put their head on your lap. Sometimes they put their head on your shoulder.
Yeah.
They're teaching you love. What mother will see that and say, take your head off of me? That kind of stuff. They're teaching you love. So for me, I can only teach what I have.
Yes.
So every day, I take time off at the end of the day and I process to myself, what have I done today that I shouldn't try again tomorrow? Or what have I done that I'd like to try again? Or what can I work on? What did I say to somebody that I shouldn't have said? Do you understand what I mean? So like you have to be able to process, take women especially should learn to take me time. Me time, it's very essential. We don't ever do that. We're worried about everybody else
Yes.
except ourselves. We have to learn to do me time. Force it if you have to.
Yes.
Even if it's just for 2 hours, 3 hours, do it. It makes a world of a difference. I had a friend who was going through a struggle. She was actually supposed to be going through a surgery, I think, in a day. And here she was worried about, I haven't done laundry. I haven't done this. I said to her, leave it. Leave that laundry alone. It will be there tomorrow and the day after, next week. I said, because you have to ask yourself this question. When you die, how long does it take the world to move on?
Very true.
That's the question. How long does it take the world to move on?
Just move on.
It after you're gone. So you must take time to yourself. Even if it's to your son, you can tell him, what's your son's name?
Kenaya.
You say, Kenaya, mommy needs a little bit of break. Is that okay? Just give me a little bit, just a little time. Mm-hmm. And trust me, engage him in something that gives you that time. Let him get something to distract him, and you take time. As long as, if he's a little boy, as long as you're focused on what he's doing, but you're taking time to yourself.
Yeah.
Not just women, everybody needs that minute, that moment to themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's important. It doesn't matter, there are times at work, I don't know if you've ever encountered this, there are times that you're so tired, you're sleepy, you slept through the night, you're still very sleepy.
Yes, it happens.
You get that little break. You have your lunch that is 30 minutes or so. You just take a time to your car or somewhere, just you, and set your alarm for 15 seconds, 15 minutes, and just nap. When you wake up, you feel so refreshed.
Very,
You're
very,
like, oh,
very refreshed.
so much, you know. So we have to, you must try to take time, because the kids that we love will never know love when you're gone.
True.
You know,
Very
you're
true.
not there to care for yourself. How do you give what you don't have? So you must have experienced love in order for you to give it. You must have experienced love in order for you to teach someone else how to treat you,
Yeah.
how to see you, and how to love you.
Very true. Wow. Wow. Because there's so much, so much. Ladies, you've got to find your quiet. And you have to, I mean, you need to just take that time out for yourself. That's actually showing yourself love. Wow,
Yeah.
Juliet, I mean, we could go on and on. I mean, I have lots of questions, but we've come to, the end of the show. But I have a question. I mean, I have to, just to ask you, this show is supposed to inspire women as well, to do you have any tips you want to share? Anything else to share, just to inspire women on the self-love journey?
Well, what I have to say, to women and to myself is that,
And to me.
and to you, to every woman around the world. It doesn't matter if you're single, married. As a woman, first of all, you have to have a dream. It doesn't matter if your husband is so wealthy and you don't have to work. Have a purpose in life. Have a dream, something that makes you wake up every day and do. It doesn't matter how little it is. Have a purpose in life. Secondly, we need to stop with the idea of self-pity. You want the world, you want everybody to feel sorry for you, but guess what? They can only feel sorry for you. There are other things that they need to get done, that they don't have to focus on you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to learn to empower ourselves. Have a dream. Have a purpose. Find a strategy to push yourself. It doesn't matter how little it is. I'm not saying go conquer millions of dollars, but something that makes you wake up in the morning and you have a purpose in life. For mothers, we already have our children who are, they occupy majority of our time.
Yes.
But in that process, you have to find time to recoup. You have to find time for you. So you can stop existing, because the minute you start living, you know that there's a purpose in life and there's something for you out there. Don't indulge yourself in negative thoughts and negative people around you. If it's toxic, walk away. If it's toxic, walk away.
Yeah.
I always say, in this life that we're in, live your dream. Believe in yourself, because you can do it. Until, if you don't believe in yourself, you never feel like you can. But believe in yourself, believe in the power. There's nothing wrong with falling and getting up. If you fall, get up. And you know not to fall there again, or to do better so you don't fall there again.
Yeah.
Don't ever be scared of falling. Don't ever be scared of taking a risk. That's what life is all about. You have to take a risk. That way you can grow. Live in full, so that when you die empty.
Die empty. Yes.
So live in full, live your dream, be happy. Every woman should learn to extend a helping hand, a hand of hope to another woman. It's not about putting people down because you feel like you're up there. Putting someone down doesn't make you a successful person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Being successful is the positive impact you've made in someone else's life. It's not about the money. It's a positive impact, the legacy you're living. So women should learn to empower other women, to ginger other people. You see someone falling, sit by, ask the questions, find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
However little way you can, help the next person. Doesn't have to be much, but just be present. It makes a world of a difference. And until we start doing that, we never learn. We're static. You might think you're learning, but no, you're not learning by being selfish, by being negative. You're just in one place, living the same thing over and over while the world revolves around you. You can grow from it. So, as the saying goes, lift and grow wings till you can fly.
Wow. Leap and grow wings until you can fly down. Awesome. 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 Oh, Juliet, thank you so much. This is what I would want to watch over and over again because there's so many nuggets to just learn from. Women, you've heard Juliet today. She shared so much about having a purpose in life, about believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, about live life to the fullest, take risks, don't just exist. Just accept falling, accept to fall so that you can learn not to fall right there again. We're all in this world to actually achieve something, and we need to have impact. So success is not just about money, as she has said, but it's about having an impact in another person's life. And another thing she shared so much that I really love is about extending a hand to build or to pull another woman up. And that is something that I want each and every woman to learn to do. Extend a hand to another woman and pull her up instead of bringing her down. That way, we are all growing. Because remember, we're as strong as our weakest link in this life. Thank you so much, Juliet. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I have to say goodbye. Good.
Thank you so much. And feel free, reach out any day. I would, whenever I come to Nigeria, I want to come visit you. I want my necklace.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. I'm definitely making one for you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Evie. I really enjoyed this, and it's so nice talking to you. And I hope that we get to reconnect sometime in the future, anytime.
Same here. You're just a world of. You're filled with so much, insight, and you're giving out so much. And I want to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.